And, beautiful, I mean, lovely backdrop, by the way, which is neither here nor there. But listen.
I did it all for you. There you go.
It's really lifting my spirits. But tell us how dramatically you think these trends are shifting because of coronavirus. What's it going to look like in the future?
Well, we're going to move from a just-in-time supply chain to a just-in-case supply chain. That means that we're going to see a lot more production where consumers actually are. China will be less the factory of the world. There's also going to be a lot more inequality in the supply chain because you're going to take a lot of the labor costs out of it. You're going to try to make it more efficient in terms of labor as you have to create more resilience, which itself is more expensive. This is particularly going to hurt the U.S.-China relationship, which was already moving in that direction on the technology side, as you know. I mean, companies like Twitter and Facebook aren't doing business in China. And Huawei is certainly not going to be doing business in the United States anytime soon. That's going to start broadening out to involve both manufacturing and services. Add to that nationalizations and bailouts of companies that are under distress that will have conditionality from the countries that are giving them money saying you've got 15% unemployment. You have to make sure the people you hire are in the country that's actually bailing you out. Yeah. All of that is moving towards deglobalization.
Absolutely. And it's something I think people are coming to grips with. And in a way, there's not much you can do to invest around this theme. It just tells you this is how the world is going to change. And there are ways that the U.S. could benefit in terms of that industry. But let me ask you about some of the relationships. U.S. and China, you mentioned, that it would hurt that relationship. Europe, they're fighting right now over these corona bonds and, how much the northern countries should be paying for the southern countries. So when we talk about deglobalization, to what point does this, how far does it go?
Well, I mean, there's not a near-term risk that the Eurozone falls apart, but this is a global pandemic, right? I mean, but the pandemic is the only thing that's global about it. The responses are completely national. They're completely uncoordinated. That's true at the EU level, and it's true at the global level between the United States and its allies. I mean, the U.S. is doing an awful lot domestically, even though it's late on the healthcare side. But, if you look at the amount of stimulus, the amount of relief you're talking about, the expected stimulus coming down the pike, these are big numbers, and they're important. But internationally, the United States is doing nothing, right? There's a complete absence of leadership. There's no multilateral coordination. Not on supply chain. In fact, it's the other way around. We're saying here are a whole bunch of new PPE that you're not allowed to export from the United States. That's coming down today from the Trump administration. Over 70 countries are doing that. This is a time when you need supply chains to be coordinated, to be maximized for efficiency, to ensure that the goods go at a decent price where they need to go. The response is the exact opposite of that.
And the most interesting thing to me is actually going to be the future of China. So final question, kind of paint this one for us if you can, but you have Japan now paying firms to leave China and relocate their production elsewhere. The U.S. is pushing hard to kind of move along the same trend. So if you're China right now, what does the future look like?
Well, if you're China, there are some countries that are going to be moving away from you and other countries that desperately need you. Let's keep in mind that the United States approach towards allies has been mostly stick. Either come with us or we're going to sanction you. Come with us or we won't share intelligence. China's been offering a carrot. Not much of a carrot, small and rotten carrot maybe, but it's still a carrot. Here's some tests. Maybe they don't all work, but here they are. Here's some medical personnel. We're selling all this stuff. We're giving some aid too. There are a lot of countries that aren't in Japan and America's position that they can pay companies to move back. Most countries around the world are going to be more aligned with Beijing. In descending order, Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, South and Eastern Europe, the poorer of the European states, and South America. So coming out of this, much more bifurcation, much less globalization.
Absolutely. It's like breaking apart like the artwork behind you. I'm trying to make some analogy because I just keep looking at it. Ian, thanks.
A lot of fragmentation, deeply saturated. Yeah.